Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. And this is
Refining Perspectives.
And I am Tobani Vumendaba.
And I am Buhlali Buzani.
Thank you so much for tuning in once again. We come to your TV screens to bring you another fun-filled episode of Refining Perspectives. And so, ndicela ke ukuxelela kwaye ndikucele man kakuhle ukuthi ubize umakazi, ubize ummelwane, your friends and your family, as we are going to be having another fantastic episode of Refining Perspectives. So, without wasting no time, let's jump straight into today's episode.
Yo, hayi mama. Ufana nomlungu mna. Hey, Vendin, awukwazi busitsho. Hayi mama, ngifuna ufana nomlungu mna.
Itheni ngekho sabalungwini apha ekhaya.
Yay. Good day, everyone. Welcome to a new and fresh episode of Refining Perspectives. Today, we'll be talking about cultural assimilation. Hey, sisilungu cool but basically what we're trying to say, and the reason why we introed like that, is to say that nangona ingafani thetheke, but that's one of the things that okukhuleni kwethu singabantu abamnyama, like sasike sayinqonela inhlizweni yethu.
Yebo kuthena ngase kwabe nikhulele balungwini ngoba bazali bami bebengabelungu
you know. And mhlawumbe you must confess ba mhlawumbe wawukhe wazibuza kayi-1 ba mama wawuphi ngoba benemali bonke abanye abantu or etc. But bro, the conversation around today is centered around cultural assimilation. And basically what that means is that singabantu siphila kwi-environment, gay environment, right? And kwezi space okanye kwezi environments siphila kuzo kukho indlela yokuphila ekulandawo, a certain lifestyle, certain way that is governed by what people value and norms zalapho. Fumaniseka uba hayi kasiyenzi lento into apha.
Into kwenziwa kwento ethile, it's a taboo here, and you can easily become ostracized xa uqala usenza loo nto leyo.
Absolutely, yabo, and uba different. So ufuna ke usticke to izinto ezenziwa apha kule ndawo. So basically now, where it stemmed from, bro, was the fact that we had a conversation. Yokuba, hey, why is it like as sikula, yabo, we sit dibana like with the white person, like we can share our own experiences, yabo. I want to hear what you would say.
Like we were actually having a chat about this Mbukele before we actually recorded this episode, and I was just sharing with you, bro. I remember when I was transitioning from high school to doing my first year in college. How now kaloku ndikhulele in a public school in an area where sisonke kuselokishini, and so we're all black people, sithetha isiXhosa, umlungu awudibana naye xa andiyazi xa uyephi now. So now you get to a setting now where there are different people coming from different places, and you meet coloreds, you meet white people, and you find that for me it took quite a bit of time. And this is another human being just like me, and the pressure kokuba khawuzame man ufana, you know. But this, as I was saying, the benefit of having attended and spent a lot of my time in a public school where I had already become comfortable in who I was, then helped me as much as, but there is that pressure, but so you must find but then this is a normal human being.
And you know, like maybe I can share my experience. Like my grandfather, like Bandisa, my mom, my parents, and my grandparents to this school, multiracial school, and like I mean, was one of the best in East London. Be plays there, like standard. But he said one thing to me, and he said, Buhlali, do me a favor, isilungu sishiye esikolweni eGate. When you get back into the community, these are your brothers and these are your sisters. And that took a while for me to grasp and to understand, but I've seen that as a huge differentiator between me and my counterparts who went to the same high school as me. Because it was quite beneficial for you. You were quite comfortable in who you were, right? And then xa ufika collegeini ufika ufuna ufana ikhona ndawo iqonda andiyaziqhatha kodwa
exactly
because man yabo ndiyathandwa mna apho ndisuka khona ihlobo ndililo
I'm comfortable in my skin.
Do you understand what I'm saying? But you find now in many multiracial schools, abantu don't have the sense of community that you had. Yabo, they live in gated houses. Uphuma ngoye esikolweni. Ubuxhosa bakhe or with their own culture.
It's not expressive of them.
Yabo. Even kwalapha endlini, awuzona into abazali are interested to learn is what new English word did you learn at school? And then you can apply it here at home.
Exactly.
And then what it does, it dismantles. Because here's another thing that we don't understand. Language is not just me speaking words to you. Language carries a lot of things. It embodies culture.
Yeah, it embodies culture and it's a form of communication. You know, someone once said, I think, I forgot, it's not Trevor, no, but it's one of those comedians. He loves learning different languages. And a person was asking him, why do you actually take it as a responsibility to learn other people's language? Only because language goes further and beyond just the words itself. But there's a different sense. Make an example, and I know this, again, coming to my example that I made, you feel differently when a white person comes to you speaking as close.
That's
you
true.
feel differently when you come across. I know I've been to Joburg and you come across different people. There's I don't know what the feeling. But when you come across someone who is close and you see. So really, to concur with what you're saying, really language is not just the words. It carries culture. It carries a sense of community as well.
Which is why now, bro, like what I've found is detrimental is that now. It was a bit beneficial that you were intact with who you were. Now imagine at home, umdu has pressure of figu kumshe. Xa kufika i-neighbors, xa kufika cousin no so and so. Xa uthethe sasilungesi sisibhatalelayo mfundisi. Do you get what I'm saying?
Sasilungesi sisibhatalela duru.
Duru futhi yabo. And then when you get, so you have to be the better cousin. Now when you get to high school, ufika payana, and then you still have to assimilate to this culture, to the values of these people. And then now, with that being said, bro, there's a detrimental aspect of that. You lose the essence of who you are. You're no longer able. One of the things that we say on Refining Perspectives, bro, is that we are meant to be high impact individuals. People who are supposed to be the light and the salt of this world. And
one of the episodes we were speaking about authenticity.
And
we need to be true really to who we are. And you know, you said something when we're actually preparing for this episode of how the detriment maybe of this assimilation into now the culture that is deemed to be the one that's perfect. Unfortunately, some have not yet escaped that trap.
Absolutely.
They're still living within the confines.
And because, bro, here's the detriment of it. You now it's how many years later after I've gone to high school, and it's so sad, like, to meet people that you used to go to high school with, and you're like, but do you get what I'm saying? Because you can't really, I don't believe you can really get through life without being connected with who you are. So what's sad now is that for them to feel a essence of being, they need to be around those Caucasian spaces, and they need to be validated by those, by that culture, by those values, by those norms, and they can no longer fit into their own realities.
And the truth is that this is who you are. And so it's I don't know, I think it's I forgot the name of this a philosopher. He said that fighting against the reality of who you are, but basically the essence of it is you are fighting a losing fight. Because you can't run away from your reality. You're going to fight it, but it stays there. it's basically trying to let go. It's basically running away from your shadow.
That's
trying to run away. You can't.
You will always be there.
You'll always be there, and it's always a constant reminder. I'm here.
Yeah.
So we're trying to run away from yourself, because sometimes you may find I don't feel as much as I've assimilated.
Yeah.
But I still feel out.
That's true. Now listen, with me, my practicality. Before we go to the ad break, Sopo, this is called and then Jemandi Payana, Dihlale Lokshin, Tanzania, right? Now I've got friends from school, I've got friends in Tanzania.
Yeah.
In Tanzania, there was two worlds,
Two different worlds. When you are here, in reality,
it's different. I even had two names, The one name that I'm called this side, literally birds boots up. Do you get what I'm saying? And those are names, And I love how I'm expressing this, because now I ended up having like these things, at a young age, and with that being said, that's because I wanted to assimilate with the culture, because I was seen as a cheese boy.
Exactly.
Cheese. But when I get to school, I'm not the most privileged one.
And you're not comfortable with Lantuba just because you attend a certain school now, because of cheese boy.
I'm not comfortable because I'm one of you guys.
Because that's in a certain extent, everyone, guys, you'll know this. So once you go to a cheese boy, already that's and that's what perhaps we will talk about when we come back from the ad break. Cultural assimilation is not just based on race. It's cultural assimilation, meaning we experience it in our townships, where you are set aside because we're now Yiparu. Have you ever had that word? Kwaba slow, kwaba mva. Well, Mbugeli, thank you so much for tuning in for the first segment. Please do stay tuned. And if you did not tell everybody yet, please cover Bizaman. We'll be back just now.
In a world where there's so much information, do we know what shapes our ideas? Join Lebo and Musayo Refining Perspectives exclusive, talking leadership and more on Tuesdays on Radio 537.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, before we continue today's conversation, just want to remind you that we are available also on Instagram and YouTube as well. Corner as Refining Perspectives. And of course, on Instagram, and you're available, Mos.
Yes, definitely. Bohlale Buzani on Facebook, Bohlale Buzani on Instagram as well.
So, just before the break, bro, you talked about now that it's not only about the cultural assimilation between, let's say, maybe white and black, but the cultural assimilation goes deeper than that, even into our own spaces, because within cultures, there are also other cultures.
Absolutely.
Within groups, there are also other groups.
True.
So now, what does that say to me? What does that say to who I am? Because when we talk about the cultural assimilation between black and white, it can be something that is a bit easier to deal with. Because then you easily assimilate to a lokshin. But there are those cases where but there are still certain groups that I don't fit in kuzo. And now I feel as if, because like for instance for myself, as I was saying before the break, for all my years, I've studied in a public school. But for whatever reason, I've always been regarded as a cheese boy. For whatever reason. And there are certain groups that you don't fit into. And I think this then speaks to the importance of what we once spoke of, being authentic to yourself.
And bro, we need to understand about the root of everything. The root of you being called a cheese boy is not just because we just fail to understand the values. Go simply in the Tobani, come home at 6 o'clock at night. And Funum Danam, it's discipline in the like amakhaya ahlukana ngengqeqesho.
Yeah.
Now I would always realize that with me, it wasn't about, and if man say you'd find Dala, our parents, they had 2 pairs of jeans. But they were always neat, they were always clean. And then you'll find that there were also those amongst them who didn't care, but had a lot.
And it's bro, I think of what you have just said, because now you're talking about even the root cause. But now this speaks then of you understanding Oguti, you might be ostracized, you don't fit in, and called whatever name that you're going to be called. But you need to identify because sometimes you not understanding
will lead you to
exactly, you might actually let go of what is actually a blessing to you.
Can I make something like a simple example? And my sister is, guys, my designer for the clothes that I wear. She does a wardrobe.
Go my selector.
This one time she was so stressed and she was like, no, I live in a dungeon. And I'm like, what? You live in a dungeon? And then she's like, yeah, this is a dungeon, yada yada. So I'm like, okay. Okay, so did your friends say you live in a dungeon? She says yes. I say okay. Do your friends have an iPhone? She says no. Do your friends have Wi-Fi? She says no. Do your friends have access to uncapped Wi-Fi? I mentioned all these things that I didn't have growing up, but she has access to, that are able to create an environment for her to prosper and grow in who she needs to be, not who she wants to be, and who her friends wanted to be.
And not who she wants to be in reference to someone else.
In reference to someone, absolutely. So now the point is, she said to me, yo, Budi, you're right. Like, I've got everything that I need. So, in her mind, her perception was the fact that she was living in a dungeon. But the problem is, I was telling her that there are different policies for different houses. So your friend's house, but that doesn't assure you that that's freedom.
And that doesn't assure you that's even perfect.
Exactly.
And then that's why it's important for you to understand the context. And this is actually something that I was saying even before the break. I can say whatever about my family and whatever. But the one thing that I'm always grateful for is them helping me to understand the context. This is where we are. This is where we are as a family. And therefore, if this is where we are, even financially and everything, then you understand to such a point that as much as I've grown up without a father, I've never felt that void. Because I got to understand, even though I've never had design and those doors and branded clothing, but I've never completely, yes, ikhona ke lanto ezoba chomzami Adidas because imali engaka uba ziyothenga impahla and mina ndiyacucezela kuthiwa qinda ejini. But I've never felt out of place with myself and having that sense of I can do everything but differ man because I got that no man, this is my context, and if there's anything that is going to change, then it's going to be an imperative on me.
Perhaps, bro, this is what our generation needs to grasp and understand more on the solutions aspect. To understand that, first and foremost, guys, let's understand our family values. If there's anyone we should be true to, let's be true to those who are loyal to us. And who is loyal to us is our family before the streets.
And bro, we need to even identify the family values because I don't know, for me, because I don't want to speak as if I identified my family values, but as I grew up, some of the decisions and this that I couldn't be part of, I look back and I was like, hi man, it was because of this value that my parents hold. That's why that's why into TV sense also. Like one of the things, because I would sometimes look at my friends and go, but my friends, economically, financially,
they're good.
No, even they're not that good. We are at the same footing. But how can they afford that? And one of the principles that they taught me, we don't want to be in debt here. We don't want, if you have everything, have it because I bought it for you. You own it. It's yours. So now when I look back, I'm like, okay, so that's why. And then now when I look back and then I realize those values, I'm able now to own them for myself. So really, we need to really identify and get to find values of our families.
You know why you say that, bro? Because we always, because it sounds good, we say we want to build generational wealth, we want to build generational legacy, but we don't understand that even under that's generational is mindset.
Exactly.
Baninzi abantu bashiyelwa i-factories, i-shop ngabazali babo zindoni ziba obsolete ziyaphela ezo assets bashiyela imali but iyona nto ishiyela umntana i-mindset ingqondo ekhululekileyo. And but how do we do that? We need to understand that a broken society is a result of broken families. If we don't start at the root cause of our families, identify our family culture, identify our family values, what do we hold to value in this family?
Exactly.
And
I know this. I know this to the full because like for in ekhaya bekade uzawulala kutyiwe ipapa nekhaphetshu simply because umama uzixelela uba I'm not going to go ndiyoboleka imali. This is not a necessity. If I'm going to go ndiyoboleka imali, let it be because I want to take you to school.
Not
let it be because of a necessity, not about because ufuna i-Air Force or because ufuna into ethile. Not that I don't love you, mntanam. I do. But ezona nto zibalulekileyo is this, because the problem is kuzawuba buhlungu now when these things are being repossessed and all of those. So you get that understanding, and as much as sometimes when you are still growing up, you'll not fully understand. But now when you look back, you're like, wow, thank you,
bro. And maybe like in the last point is to say like we need to also grasp one thing, the fact that with regards to this cultural assimilation, we've spoken it in the physical context. We've got any assimilation, which is the phone, with social media, where we are greatly influenced and we do not own the ideas and the values that we ascribe to. Sisibone so value ishinto uyibone so ufuna into uyithethelele
justify it.
But it's not something that's inherent or something that comes from you. I was saying that we can't be inspired. Yes, we can be inspired. But now likena sibona kwanam, bro, like hey, before I deleted some apps now,
social
just
media apps,
because when fumansek ba jenhleli didn't ngene and this bonus and browser status. Why?
Exactly.
Why? What is it that I'm numbing myself? But I don't know that all that information I'm taking in there is taking its root cause in my subconscious mind. I'm going to see myself tomorrow and you
don't understand why. But the problem is it's in your subconscious mind. And the problem with that is that you'll end up being able now to justify it even though it's not your own idea. So bro, I think perhaps maybe, I don't know, maybe on the next episode or in another episode, this really, because there's a huge and a lot to be said about assimilation when we talk about the social media space. There's a lot to be said. But for this episode, Mbukele Kai, take some time, sit down and reflect on your life, reflect on your values, reflect on the decisions that you take on a daily basis, and say ukuthi wena zikubeka ndawoni now when we talk about this cultural assimilation. Are you just simply fitting in, or are you afraid of being ostracized? Uphele now so ungena nje unawufana nabanye abantu.
Disclaimer, we are not meant to fit in. At all. You're supposed to be different.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and up until next time,
go serve your king.